Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the electrifying world of wrestling. If you thought part 1 was intense, get ready to be blown away because today marks the much anticipated part 2 of our thrilling wrestling saga. Remarkable WWF Raw moments of 1997 part 2. Owen Hart versus the British Bulldog to crown first European champion. On March 3rd, an unusual scenario unfolded on Raw. A showdown for the inaugural European Championship pitted the WWF Tag Team Champions against each other in singles competition, in the heart of Europe, Berlin, Germany. The significance of the singles title, the fervent European crowd, and the inherent rivalry to determine the superior wrestler within their team elevated the stakes to an unprecedented level. Both men, known for their in-ring prowess, engaged in a 25-minute masterpiece, potentially marking the best match in Raw's history at that point and still standing as one of its finest. The match unfolded as a technical marvel, an intense back-and-forth display rarely seen on WWF television during an era dominated by shorter matches, featuring larger, less technical performers. Despite the consistency of this trend over the years, the impact of this match remains unrivaled. Many consider this bout to be the apex of Bulldog's career, surpassing even his renowned match against Bret Hart at SummerSlam 1992. While the SummerSlam encounter might have held greater stakes, this Raw contest showcased a smoother performance with fewer awkward spots, sparking ongoing debate among wrestling enthusiasts regarding the two matches' comparative excellence. Steve Austin throws The Rock's title into a river. On that chilly December 15th, the ongoing saga between Steve Austin and The Rock reached a defining moment in their legendary feud. While their matches were undeniably stellar, it's the segments, promos, and unforgettable moments that often stand out in this epic rivalry. One such moment unfolded on this particular night. Austin, having defended his Intercontinental title against The Rock the night before at In Your House, faced off against the demand from Vince McMahon to defend the title again. True to his rebellious nature, Austin opted to seemingly forfeit the title to The Rock, hinting at his pursuit of the WWF title instead. In a classic Austin move, he handed the belt over only to deliver a stunning stunner to The Rock, reclaiming the title, and teasing what his next move would be. The following week, Austin took his antics to another level. Standing on a bridge near Raw's host city, he delivered an engaging promo, challenging The Rock to retrieve his title. To add a humorous twist, Austin listed absurd items The Rock would need to find the title: a mask, snorkel, oxygen tank, flippers, and even a pager to signal when he located it. Then, in a moment that left audiences astonished, Austin dramatically tossed the title from the bridge into the icy waters below. The spectacle made for captivating television, drawing viewers in with anticipation for what would unfold next, perfectly encapsulating the essence of the ongoing narrative, keeping fans on the edge of their seats, eager to see the next chapter in this electrifying feud. HBK loses his smile. Shawn Michaels, prior to his transformation, had a reputation for being somewhat difficult to deal with. He had a self-centered approach, willing to deceive and manipulate to serve his own interests. Even his closest friends openly acknowledged that Michaels wasn't always the most pleasant person to be around during that time. As WrestleMania 13 approached, the plan was for Michaels to drop his WWF title to Bret Hart in a rematch of their previous WrestleMania encounter. However, Michaels reportedly wasn't keen on this idea and allegedly devised a plan, fabricating a knee injury to justify relinquishing the title. His solemn appearance in the ring, portraying a career-threatening situation, led to an emotional moment as he voluntarily surrendered the championship, leaving the audience and fans with a sense of poignancy. Over time, revelations emerged, suggesting that Michaels may have exaggerated his injury to evade losing to Hart. This tarnished the significance of the moment, particularly in the eyes of Bret Hart, as it shifted the WrestleMania main event landscape due to one individual's decision. It turned what could have been a title change and an anticipated main event into an unforeseen turn of events that sidelined Hart from the show's central spotlight. Bret screwed Bret. The aftermath of the Montreal Screwjob reverberated profoundly in wrestling history, leaving fans in a state of uncertainty about what would unfold next. Vince McMahon, as expected, was the first to address the situation. In a series of candid sit-down interviews, McMahon presented his perspective, offering an amalgamation of worked and real elements to explain the events of Survivor Series. It was during these interviews that McMahon delivered lines that would etch into wrestling folklore as cold and brutally honest. He asserted, "Some would say I screwed Bret Hart. Bret Hart would definitely tell you I screwed him. I look at it from a different standpoint. I look at it from the standpoint of, the referee did not screw Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels certainly did not screw Bret Hart, nor did Vince McMahon screw Bret Hart. I truly believe that Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart, and he can look in the mirror and know that." These words drove home the stark reality of the situation, solidifying the departure of Bret Hart from the WWF. The assertion highlighted the complexity of the incident and its emotional fallout, leading fans to bid a bittersweet goodbye to Bret Hart's tenure as a WWF performer. The interviews were a mix of wrestling storytelling and a candid portrayal of the real emotions and complexities that underscored the Montreal Screwjob. Steve Austin stuns Vince McMahon for the first time. The epic feud between Steve Austin and Vince McMahon stands as a hallmark in wrestling history, often regarded as one of the greatest rivalries to ever grace the ring. It became the linchpin for the entire company, captivating audiences and keeping them hooked to Raw week after week. The genesis of this monumental feud traces back to September 22nd, within the electric atmosphere of Madison Square Garden. Austin, recovering from a neck injury sustained at SummerSlam, remained a fiery presence on the show, delivering intense promos and causing havoc despite his physical limitations. Vince aimed to significance of this moment was amplified by the knowledge that Vince wasn't just a commentator but also the owner of the company, making Austin's physical defiance against his boss gripping television. Vince's less than graceful sell of the stunner, appearing as though his neck snapped, paradoxically enhanced the authenticity of the moment. Rather than a typical wrestling move, it felt raw and real, adding an extra layer of intensity. This incident laid the groundwork for a prolonged vendetta as Vince sought retribution, culminating in a complex plot that reached its climax nearly 4 years later at WrestleMania 17, where Austin surprisingly aligned with Vince, marking a significant twist in their enduring saga. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the world of wrestling history. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated.